That was about as crispy as it gets, mate. Now,
Yes,
I
sir.
was feeling in that little transition pump move that I was just doing there was a lot of pressure going down into the ball of my lead foot. Now, this is important for keeping my upper body closed off for
Yes.
long enough so I can get my arms unloading, get the golf club coming from the inside, and help me get my path out to the right, which is something I've traditionally struggled with.
Yeah.
But you were just saying, well, there's something that I see a lot of players get wrong when they try and shift their pressure in that direction, is that they actually just push it in the feeling of just going too much out towards the toes and they just end up standing up.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where oftentimes new information is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time, golfers would look at where pros finished
Yep.
and they'd see that they would finish more into their lead heel.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of players that would start their downswing with a movement where they just tried to immediately get into their lead heel.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
you go back to the top of the backswing, if your thought was to immediately get into your lead heel, you open up way too quickly. We get really steep. We're over the top. Yeah, nothing good happens.
Yeah.
But with this more newer information about trying to get the pressure moving more towards that lead ball of foot, one thing that a lot of golfers have done in an attempt to do this is that they create almost more early extension because the pelvis is moving towards that.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a big obsession. There's always been an obsession in golf instruction with swinging from the inside.
Correct.
Right? And you want to try and get the golf club coming from behind you. Now, if you are just trying to simply just thrust at the golf ball like this, the golf club gets stuck. And it's also a fake shallowing as well.
Correct.
Because when my body stands up, the golf club tips behind me. Now, when you're getting that feeling of pushing down into the ball of the foot, what players really should feel is more of like a weighted pressure down into the ground as well, isn't it? So I think it's easier if we start from, or it's best if we start from where it was at address. Let's say it's pretty neutral, right? Then it's going to do almost what's called like an infinity sign of weight distribution. It's going to go the ball of my back foot, then it's going to go to the heel of my back foot, then it's going to slightly trace towards the ball of my lead foot. As I'm about lead arm parallel in the backswing, this is when I'm going to load up the most amount of pressure in what I feel is my trail here. Then from there, I'm then shifting that weight towards the ball of my lead foot, my left foot.
Correct.
So that moment of time where I'm actually starting my downswing, I would say it's kind of moving from the instep here more towards the ball of the foot.
Yeah, well, if we look at more of the extreme sense of, let's just say someone's hitting their driver and they're trying to hit it hard. What's often going to happen with their lead heel in the backswing?
It's going to lift up.
So the pressure is going to be removed from that lead heel. So most people are going to have like the lightest section between the feet is going to be their lead heel as they're gathering to the top of the swing. Right? So if when they start to shift towards the target, that initial shift is going to put them where the pressure was, which is more so into the ball of the foot. So we don't want to be driving the pelvis towards that ball of the foot. In fact, we want to keep the pelvis away from that. We want to keep that space. So it's more so just allowing ourselves to move towards the target a little bit with the hips. That's going to get all of that pressure into here without having to push you this way.
Yeah, for sure. We just did a great video on the sensation of compressing your body in the downswing as well. Essentially getting the feeling that the upper body is lowering down towards the ground and almost pinching the belt crease. Now, as you pinching the belt. Now, as you do this, that there is actually going to apply a lot of pressure down into this lead ball as well. All right, so that's a great feeling for me to get. Now, how do players actually put this into effect when they're practicing? What should they do?
So I like to train this with an exaggeration within that left foot, and I'd have them make some swings without the golf ball initially, where they consciously lift the lead heel, they land into the ball of the foot, and then they stomp the heel as they're striking the ground.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so that's fantastic because we see a lot of players, they get to the top and they'll actually slam the heel first, and that just really encourages too much rotation early in the downswing. So you're saying from address what we're doing, swinging to the top, lifting that lead heel, keeping it up but feeling like we're applying a lot of pressure, and then trying to match up impact with the slamming of the heel. And guess what? I'll tell you, it's so easy to get that golf club moving down into the ground when I do that.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything that players should be mindful of when doing this drill? Like, obviously it's important we focus on hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What's some of the big errors that you see players make when they do this drill?
The biggest error when players are trying to move their pressure into the lead ball of the foot is when their pelvis starts to move towards the golf ball. And what I often see is more of a hosel or a heel miss, just because they run out of space. So what we want to learn to feel is that we still are, wherever that butt line would be, you'd still be able to get your left butt cheek to this line. And then as you now extend through that leg, exactly, now you've got tons of space for those arms to work through.
That is a key word right there, space. And when I do that slowly, when I feel like through impact, that weight has shifted from my toe back into my heel, for the first time in all those rehearsals that I was doing there, I actually felt like I had a lot of room and space with the arms. And that's certainly going to be moving that contact point, which sometimes can get a little bit too close to the heel if players are really throwing their pelvis out towards the ball, back towards the center of the face. But you're also going to feel a lot lower to the ground. You might feel like you might hit behind the golf ball a little bit. But don't be afraid of that feeling, because we find that a lot of the time, a natural reaction is to hold that lag angle a little bit better. That's going to help you move into impact better, strike the ball first. If you are really struggling with that sensation of how to start the downswing and exactly where the pressure in your feet should go, we want to get it moving towards the ball of the lead foot, but not by just throwing it out there. A great drill, as you swing to the top, feel that the lead heel is coming up, apply more pressure in the heel, then try and match up a stomping of the heel and a contact of the ground, and it could be the key to better ball striking.
Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.